Well, there are two things you need to take into account. The range of your move and your opponent's movement. A lot of the time, at least for me, when I was thinking about spacing, I was kind of just thinking about it like, oh man, like I need to make sure that I'm at max range, right? Like to make it as safe as possible. And so I would kind of just set up my aerial and be like, oh, I need to be at this range. So I'd like kind of think that my opponent's just gonna sit there, right? But that's not how video games work, because your opponent can move around too, right? Well, duh, but like people don't really think about that. And I've shown this example before, and you might remember it if you were watching at one point and you're like, oh, like this doesn't really matter too much to me. But basically, when you're spacing an aerial, like I said, you have to take into account the range of your move, right? If you're not in range to hit your opponent, obviously the move isn't going to hit. But it's not as simple as just like stay at, it's not as simple as like, oh, I don't have a thing here, but whatever. It's not as simple as like just stay at this range and then you'll be good, because your opponent can move back and forth, right? So they can change the spacing themselves. It's not just a it's not just a one person thing. It's understanding how your opponent is also moving, because if you know how your opponent's going to move, then you can set yourself up in the position so that when you throw out your attack, they are in that position. I'm showing you this clip because this clip shows this off really well. So, when I am attacking Black Twins with my back air, this looks like a very well-spaced aerial, right? Well, it's like, wow, why did that work? That's such a well-spaced aerial. Let me take off the music here. I apologize. The reason why this worked and it looks so well-spaced is because it is very well-spaced. And the reason for that is because I took into account Black Twins' movement. He decided to move forward, so I placed my aerial where he would be. I'm already starting my aerial, and I'm thinking, oh, he is going to run into me, or potentially run into me. I don't know. I don't remember what I was thinking exactly at this specific time, but I'm guessing that's what I was thinking. Like, oh, Black Twins is gonna want to run into me, and my aerial's only like this big, right? So it's like, oh, why are you starting it so far away? Like, you need to be closer to him, so move up, move here, so that when you throw your aerial, it's at max range. But again, you have to take into account his movement. So by time Black Twins reaches this spot, that is when my aerial will come out, and that's where the max range of my aerial is. I will play it in slow motion for you. And he runs into it. He wants to run into me, so I put out my aerial so that when it comes out, that is the, like, I'm aiming at the position that he will be, and I'm keeping myself distance from that. My sword is occupying that space, or my hitbox is occupying that space while I am not. I obviously don't have to do it like this. I can be closer and probably like go for a combo if I want to. You can go into back air, into up tilt as Cloud. Maybe not on Pichu, but on some characters. But the whole point is that I'm taking into account his movement. If I was to run up to him and start the back air, like if I was to run up to him and start doing my back air here, I would probably get anti-aired, because I'm going to be doing my rising aerial. I'm going to be rising up in the air, and then I'm going to need to fall back down and then do the aerial, which is very, very slow when you take into account that like moves can be frame 5 or frame 6, or anti-airs can be like frame 9, when a falling back air, if you take the whole jump squat into ascending and then descending, is like frame 30 something. In terms of practicing doing the aerials, so basically I would just get used to the range of my move. So like just understand like the distance that I need to be at. So I need to be like roughly here when I throw my aerial for it to hit Samus. And understanding the range of that, I would say, is like the first step, so that you know how close you need to be. So it's like, oh dude, Samus is gonna run into me at the 5 mark, right? So then you can time your aerial so that the back air, oh my gosh, it's actually kind of delayed, so that my aerial occupies that 5 space for when Samus gets there, rather than being like, oh, Samus is standing there, let me go and do my aerial, because then I might get anti-aired there.
Hello friends, it's Future Cheesy here, and basically this video was to say, hey, just take your
opponent's movement into account when you're spacing your aerials. Of course, if your opponent is just going to stand still and they're like charging something, then yeah, you can aim where they are. Something else I just wanted to quickly mention is that I did mention that the opponent can play around with the space when you're deciding to use your aerials, so they can back up and then whiff punish you. So if anything, you can act as though you're going for an aerial and then do like a tomahawk shield to catch their dash attack, and then do like an up B out of shield or an aerial out of shield. And at the same time, you can do this yourself. So if you're having a hard time dealing with, you know, Lucina's forward air and you're playing a fast character, then you can play around with the space, go out of range, and then come back in. That is basically all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys have any questions or any videos that you'd like me to make, let me know down in the comments and I will take a look at that. If you want to see more content, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. See you later. Hey, got him, boys. Why did I willingly do this matchup? Because it's fun.